Dhimanji, just give it a few more minutes. I have to wait for today's junior speaker.
I have moved it to the YouTube, so YouTube is live now.
Okay, we cannot stop and start that again?
No, if we stop, then
it'll be spin off another one. It's okay. It's okay. That's fine. Otherwise, we'll have Priyaji do first and then do the junior speaker. Maybe we'll just reverse the thing because I cannot see him yet. All right. Jai Jinendra, Prabhaji and Jai. Jai Jinendra. I'll start the session. We'll do Namo Kar Mantra. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Uvachayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Eso Panchanamokaro, Savapavapanaasuno, Mangalalancha Savesim, Padamam Havai Mangalam. Jai Jinendra to all. Today our topic is Way to Enlightenment. We have our junior presenter. His name is Ishan. Ishan, it's okay even if you have it there. I'll introduce Ishan briefly. Ishan, Javeri. He's from Phoenix. He's 12 years old. He's in grade 7. He goes to Basis Scottsdale School. His mentor is Kirit Gosalia. Kirit Pai teaches some of these Pathshala to these children. And he's the one who has also selected Ishan. And he belongs to Jain Center of Greater Phoenix. He likes to play soccer. And he also likes to play video games. So over to you, Ishan. But just for the audience, sometimes our kids are very busy with school and other activities. So in spite of that, I thank Ishan for still, doing this presentation for us. And we need to encourage the kids, even though they've done it so hurriedly because of school commitments. Over to you, Ishan. You can make it full screen.
I actually can't do that. Like, how should I do that? It's not working.
What is not working? You're fine.
Full screening it.
Don't worry, that's fine. Then go on.
Okay.
Okay. Make it the PowerPoint presentation, because we are not in presentation. You go on the slideshow.
How should I do that?
It is a Google. So let him continue on that.
Okay.
You can just press F5. You can just press F5.
That's not working.
It's okay.
It's a Google Slides. So let him continue.
Okay. So, this is my topic, Way to Enlightenment. I'm going to be talking about Samyak Darshan. And so, yeah. What is Samyak Darshan? Samyak Darshan is changing one's focus from worldly objects to the soul. Everyone's attention is focused toward worldly objects to get happiness, but true happiness comes from the soul. All worldly material objects will only give transient happiness, but it'll actually end in misery. One analogy I have is like something like people want, right? Like, for example, a phone. Say someone wants the newest iPhone coming out, and they buy it, and they get the newest iPhone. They're very happy. But as time goes on, there will be like newer and newer models like after that, right? And then like 5 years later, for example, they'll be unhappy with what they have, but then they think about the past on how they were happy at one point, on, like when they got the brand new iPhone, right? For example. And that's what happens at the end of any worldly object. But true happiness only comes from the soul. Now, like now I can talk about the point of views in Samyak Darshan, what and how you can get Samyak Darshan. Like if you want to do something, for example, achieve Samyak Darshan, you have to put solid effort to achieve it. Therefore, you will experience a soul's nature, and that experience is Samyak Darshan. The first the point of view for Samyak Darshan is Nischay, the absolute point of view. And the second one is Vavyar, the practical point of view. It's where the main entities that influence our Samyak Darshan, the Dev, the omniscient Lord, and scriptures and enlightened saints. That's pretty much all I have. Jai Janandra.
Okay, Ishan, you can stop sharing. Thank you so much for taking the time. I understand you had a busy school last few days, your mom explained.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, very good, Ishan. Very good effort, appreciate it. Ishan is also one of Kirit Kosyalia's student. Kirit Bhai works very hard with these students in teaching the true Jainism to them. Okay, now we move on to our speaker today, Priyadarshna Jain. Over to you. I know you don't want me to introduce you every day, so let's go. That'll give you 2 extra minutes.
Yeah. So it's 6:05 and I need to wind up by 6:45 or 6:50.
Okay, can we request everybody to now mute so we don't get background noise? Okay.
Yeah. I request you all to sit straight in Padmasana like Bhagwan. We should all learn to copy Bhagwan. Eyes closed, folded hands or Vitaraga Mudra. When you sit in Vitaraga Mudra, you're supposed to keep your right hand on your left hand and your thumbs joined. Okay? Yeah. हे पानी पात्री वीर जिन जग को बताया आपने जग जाल में अब तक फसाया पुण्य एवं पाप ने पुण्य एवं पाप से है पार मग सुख शांति का यह धर्म का है मरम यह विस्फोट आत्म क्रांति का क्या करे गुणगान प्रभु हम आपके उपकार का आपने निज निधि हमें दी नमन करते आपका आप में प्रभु आप से ही आप सी श्रद्धा जगे दूर होवे भाव विकृत परिणति निज मेरा में after having bowed down Pani Patri Veer Prabhu. Pani means hand and Patri means the patra, those who consume food from the hand, or rather when he was there, he just took to so much of aparigraha. And out of the 12 and a half years of rigorous meditation, just 1 year, he took to intermittent food. And most of the time, not most of the time, he was always devoted to the contemplation of the self so that he could realize it and release it from the cycle of samsara. So after having bowed down to our ideal Paramatma, Prabhu Mahavir, and all the great monks and nuns, great and small, who are devoted to the contemplation of the self, to all the Guru Bhagwans, I offer my salutation, and most respected Prabhaji, members of the Jaina team, the admin team, the senior audience members, and my junior friends, Jai Jinendra to one and all. Today being the 5th day of Paryushan, what are we going to celebrate as? We had Uttam, Kshama, Mardhav, Arjav, then we had Shauch. So today is Satya. Satya Divas, Uttam Satya. And the topic that I've chosen is the qualities of a good listener who is going to realize the truth and who is going to experience the truth and who is going to liberate himself.
प्रोग्राम देख रहे हैं, पूछती बात करेंगे स्वामी संगीता से, बात करेंगे स्वामी संगीता से.
हेलो, प्लीज सबको म्यूट पे कर दिया है एडमिन टीम ने. दैट्स गुड, कर दीजिएगा प्लीज. या आप लोग भी सब थोड़ा विवेक रखें. जब भी आपको कोई बात करनी हो तो आप लोग अपने आप को म्यूट पे रखें. आप आराम से बात करिए, कोई इश्यू नहीं है. या सो if you have the qualities that I'm going to talk about, only then you will be a good listener. And when you are a good listener, you will listen to the truth and you will know the truth, and that truth is going to liberate you. Paramatma's truth, Bhagwan Mahavir's truth liberated him. And when that truth becomes our truth, okay, when you experience the truth, only that experience of the truth will liberate you. And when we say Uttam Satya, the word Uttam connotes the spiritual element, the realization of the spirituality that we all need to understand. We are actually that. So we are not human beings with spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings with human experience. So there has to be a complete paradigm shift in our outlook, in our approach, in our understanding ourselves. And only then we can say that the pathway of liberation begins. So I have a wonderful talk lined up for you. And the reference for this is the Moksha Prakashak, Shrota Ke Gun. Moksha Prakashak is a beautiful text written by Pandit Todarmalji. And you need to study that from a very good teacher who will help you to understand the small things that are told in that text. And if you take up any Jain text, it will begin with Ratnatre. It will say that right faith, right knowledge, right conduct is the pathway of moksha. But before understanding the pathway of moksha, we need to correct a lot of our understanding. There are a lot of misconceptions about many, many things. So 8 to 9 chapters Panditji has devoted to talking about all the misconceptions. So when all those misconceptions, the wrong understanding goes related to all these things that he speaks about in his 8 or 9 chapters, only then he starts talking about right faith. So this book has tremendous value. He refers to Jainism from a psychological point of view, from a very deep psychology, philosophy, and spirituality. He's trying to analyze all these things. So in the very introduction part, we come to understand the qualities of a good listener. And when we read those, it's just one page out of the 400, 500, 800 pages, whatever that book is, it is Moksha Marg Prakashak, the one which highlights the pathway of moksha. So it is a highlighter. It's a very, very important text. And yeah, we need to visit it sometime sooner the better. Okay, so the first introductory chapter itself, it talks about the Panch Parameshti, and then it talks about the qualities of a good speaker, orator, or a Pravachankar, and then he talks about the qualities of a good listener. So today, being Uttam Satya Divas, let us try to really be true to ourselves and ask ourselves, are we good listeners? Are we good listeners? In the Shvetamba tradition, there is a book called Bhagavati Sutra. You all can note down what I'm talking. There will definitely be a question from this. There is a beautiful verse, and I'm going to recite that verse and give you the meaning of that verse. And then you will know why I have chosen this topic. So whatever topics we have chosen for these 8 days Paryushan and Das Lakshan, a lot of thought has gone into reflecting on the topics and sequencing them and putting them for you, choosing the speakers. So we have done a lot of our homework, our bit, not just to tell you, but to tell you how serious an affair this the whole exercise is. Okay, so the Bhagavati Sutra talks about a gatha. I'm going to recite the gatha with your permission. It is in Prakrit language, and then I'll give you the English translation of it. Okay, so all of you can note down. The first one is Samane Nane. Don't write now, you will write the English part. Otherwise, you'll miss something. Samane Nane Vinnane Pachakhane Ya Sanjame Ananhaye Tave Cheva Vodane Akiriya Siddhi. This is the Gatha. Gatha means the verse. Okay, now you will write the translation of this. First comes Samane. Samane means Shravan. Shravan means listening. So listening should lead to Nane. Nane, that is knowledge. Okay, as you all listen, you are getting some knowledge. Now, as you get the knowledge, that should lead to Vinnane. Vinnane means Vigyan, science, soul science, spirituality, understanding the truth. That is called Vigyan. But we understand Vigyan as material science. Researching about atom, researching about space, researching about our DNA and all these things comes under the material sciences. But the Vitaraga Paramatma, the Tirthankar Paramatmas, they have spoken about the soul science, understanding which you will get all the knowledge of all the whole of the material world and still remain detached Rather, I would say you learn to be detached, and then the knowledge of the whole universe falls in your lap. So it's the other way. So both talk about science. Vinnane is Vishishta Gyan. Vigyan, Vinnane means Vishishta Gyan. So Vishishta Gyan of what? Special knowledge is called as Vigyan. So listening should lead to knowledge. Knowledge should lead to Vigyan, which we call it as Bheda Vigyan. Bheda Vigyan. Now, what is Bheda Vigyan? Bheda means there is complete difference between the soul and the material world. The body is, the soul is different from the body. First point, the soul is different from raga. The gyan is separate from raga. And the third point, the gyan is separate from the gyeya. It is already separate. You don't have to separate it. The bheda is already there. So, uska vigyan, uska gyan hona, to have the knowledge of that bheda is bheda vigyan. So, whenever we say we have to do bheda vigyan, we end up saying we have to do bhed vigyan, we have to do bhed vigyan. But then we have to read the karta karma adhikar of Samesar, which says that Atma is akarta. And in this verse, you will find in the last but one, it is akriya. Akriya means complete inactivity. Okay, so let us come back to the first one. Shravana, listening, should lead to knowledge. Knowledge should lead to self-realization. That Vijnana is self-realization. Samyak Darshan. With Samyak Darshan, self-realization, what follows is Pachakhan. You will take to resolutions. You will resolve to not go behind the material world, to come unto yourself. So the more and more you try to understand yourself, the more and more you will be inclined to take up the small niyam, the small vows, the small resolutions, and thus protect your soul from all the negative energy that is being thrown at you. Okay, so that is like wearing your head, wearing your what to say? What do you wear when you wearing your helmet, wearing your seat belt? So these are the small rules that you follow to tread on the path, to take up your journey. In the same way, Pachakhan or Pratyakhan are the small niyam resolutions by which you become aware of your own self. Okay, so Pachakhan. So Savane, Nane, Vinnane, Pachakhan. So when you take to Pachakhan, what comes next is Sayyam, self-restraint, self-control. You will be able to master self-restraint. You'll be able to master self-control. So whenever the temptations are there, you have your resolutions which will check, no, I have resolved not to take this. I'm safe and secure in myself. I'm happy with myself. I'm contented with myself. And I'm not going to fall in the trap of these temptations. And you have it in the Bible also. Healed me from temptations. So this Pratyakyan is to help you not to fall in the trap of the temptations. Okay. So Samane, Nane, Vinnane, listening, knowledge, and then the what to say, Samyak Darshan, and then comes Pratyakyan, that is resolutions, to take small vows, small things that the Jains very famously do it worldwide, and that leads to self-control, self-restraint. Okay, Sanjami. What happens after that? Pachakane is Ananhaye. Ananhaye means Anasrav, stoppage of influx of karma. The karmas that were getting associated with the soul, they get arrested. They get arrested. Now the karmas know that you are not interested in the material world. So why they'll come after you? So you are in your own self. So there will be maximum stoppage of the karmas when the maximum resolution or the pratyakyan or self-restraint is there, and not otherwise, not at all otherwise. Okay. So Ananhaye Tave. After Anasrav, this is stoppage of influx of karma is Anasrav. We call it an opposite of Asrav. That leads to Tave. Tave means tap, austerities. Then you take to meditation, then you take to scriptural study, then you take to all the internal 12 types of austerities, which are very beautiful. And there is a logic behind the sequence of these 12-fold nirjara. And then only the karmas leave you. First, you have arrested the influx of karmas. Now you're removing the karmas by going deeper into your truth, in your Satya Swabhav, in your through Uttam Satya. Okay, so you are the truth, you are the way, you are the life. So you have to focus on yourself. So, but the Jiva, since Anadi Kal, has been focusing outside. So we have to listen how to focus on ourselves. Okay, so Ananhaye Tave Cheva. Then what happens? Bodhane. Bodhane means Nirjara happens. When you take to these austere practices, see, you all have arrested the temptations of the material world and you have come for these lectures, and then you're listening so carefully. So tap is happening. But before the tap, the Bheda Vigyan happens, the self-realization happens, then that leads to annihilation of karmas. See, there are two levels of listening. First, we listen so that we get Samyak Darshan. And after getting the Samyak Darshan, you are continuously telling yourself. You may not be listening outside, but you're doing the Dharma Katha. You're again and again repeatedly telling yourself about the truth that you are, about experiencing the truth. Then that leads to the arrest of influx of karma, the stoppage of karma, sorry, the same thing it is, and then the removal of karmas. Okay, that is called as bodhane, complete annihilation of karmas. And what remains is the pristine, pure self, which is Gyata, Drashta, Akarta. The soul is a knower, seer, and a non-doer, just like Siddha Bhagwan. So whatever doing is happening, talking, moving the hand, walking, etc., it's all because of the karmic package. You are only a knower and seer even now. You are not the doer of all this. There are a lot of permutations and combinations to tell you from what point you are doing this, from what point you are not doing this, etc., For that, as the junior speaker pointed out, we need to look into the Nishchay Vyavhar point of things. We have to have the two viewpoints to understand the truth, to experience the truth. Only then all these happens. Okay, and Bodhane, and last comes Akriya, and that is Siddhi, accomplishment. The state of accomplished ones. So Siddhas are the accomplished souls. Arhats and Siddhas are the accomplished souls. And the Gurus are those who want to accomplish that inactivity state, spiritually inactive, materially inactive and spiritually dynamic. Even the Arhats and Siddhas, they are not static like stones. They are spiritually dynamic. Just as the fan is static yet running, likewise the Siddha Bhagwan, from the material point of view, they are static, but from the spiritual point of view, they are highly dynamic. They're experiencing the Keval Gyan, Keval Darshan, Anant Sukh, etc., etc. So how did they reach that level? Only by listening to the truth. So now Pandit Todarmalji tells us that he tells us about what should we listen to, how should we listen to, why should we listen to, what will happen if we don't listen to, etc., etc. Very beautifully he is analyzed and he has given it in that chapter. I request you to kindly, if you have read that book, reread that book, and if you have not, please visit that book. And there are many YouTube lectures on this book, and many other beautiful texts in the found in the Jain tradition. So I would like to say, like what under which tattva does listening come? Under which tattva? So you will, when I give this talk, you will understand. See, 45 minutes is not at all enough for me to cover the whole thing. What I'm doing is just it's just the tip of the iceberg, and I leave it for the august audience to contemplate upon and to revisit these texts and collect those pearls of Ratnatre. So if you listen very carefully, only then your listening will lead to Samvar and Nirjara, that is stoppage of karma and removal of karma. Otherwise, mere listening falls under the Shubha Asrava. You will be getting only good karma, and if it doesn't lead to self-realization. And many times it can also come under the Papa Tattva. If you listen with arrogance, if you listen with making a livelihood out of the Jain studies, and if you listen in such a, like for example, a terrorist is listening to the Quran, but his attitude is to kill everybody who don't follow the way he has the ideology, then he is binding the Papa karma. So Quran is not to be blamed for that. The Bible is not to be blamed for that. If our outlook, our attitude is perverted, then we will only be nurturing the perversion. So I would like to give an example over here. When you collect milk in a bowl, the bowl has to be clean. Your vessel has to be clean. If it is dirty, then whatever good things come into that bowl also get dirty, also get contaminated. They get spoiled. So that is why it is said, Dhammo Suddhassa Chittai. Only in the Shuddha Hriday, in a pure heart, a heart that is true to itself, the dharma can abide. So where the truth is not there, the dharma cannot stay. So as I've told you, it comes under the Asrava Tattva, Swadhyay. It should lead to Swa Adhyay. It should lead to realization of the self, understanding of the self, contemplation of the self. Only then that Swadhyay comes under Nirjara Tattva. Okay, so this is one thing. Second thing is the title that I've given for the today's talk is The Way to Enlightenment. So what is it that we have to listen to? So we have to listen to, you can note down one very technical term that I'm using, you will find it in this book. It is Prayojan Bhoot Siddhi. Prayojan means purpose, okay, by which our purpose is accomplished. We have not listened to that thing by which we can realize or accomplish our purpose of existence. See, all living beings desire happiness, but they are seeking momentary happiness in momentary things, or permanent happiness in momentary things. How can anybody get permanent happiness in momentary things? Permanent happiness can come only from a permanent entity, no? And the jiva, the core existence of ours, which is abstract, which is formless, which is colorless, which is odorless, is the permanent entity, which has been in transmigration since Anadi Kal. So when you focus on that, only then we can realize true happiness. So the way to enlightenment is by which you acquire or accomplish infinite knowledge, infinite self-sovereignty, infinite bliss, infinite desirelessness, happiness, a disease-free life. Okay, so that is real happiness. Every moment we are experiencing happiness, but we don't know that this is the happiness. Now, if I have to talk about it, then you'll have to wait for the 8th day when I will reappear for the last and the final lecture that I will be giving. And tomorrow onwards, you'll be having another set of lecturers who will be giving, not lecturers, the talk, people who will be giving talks. So there, I will try to talk about the 8 kinds of things that time. I will try to disclose this. So enlightenment is where you will experience all this. If you experience it momentarily, then you will get self-realization. When you continue to experience the truth that you are, then this purification of the soul happens. All the foreign matter leaves the soul, and what remains is the pure soul. So you don't have to become a pure soul. You are already a pure soul, and you have to listen to that. And that is what we have never listened to. We have never listened to that I'm a pure soul. Even if you have listened, you have not had faith in it. You have not had a vision of it. You have not had an experience of it. And when you have the experience of it and continuous experience of it, only then you become enlightened. So enlightenment happens in the 12th, 13th Gunasthan, according to the Jain Karnanu Yoga, which you all should take to study of Karnanu Yoga. There are beautiful lectures on Karnanu Yoga by the Pandit Pravinji Shastri. You can visit them. And we actually say we have not listened because we have not realized the truth. The Prayojan Bhut Siddhi has not happened. So we say, even though we have listened, we have not listened. I always give an example related to this. It goes like this, that supposing somebody comes to my house and I tell my child to get a glass of water. Now the child is very busy playing. And 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, I tell the child, please get a glass of water. And I'm very busy talking to the visitor. Now, the child is very busy playing. As I'm busy with the visitor, the child is also very busy with the playing. So what would I say the child? Did you listen or not? Okay. Maybe in US and abroad, you don't use that language. But if you come to India, they will say, Suna ki nahi suna. He'll say, yes, I listened. What did you say? You told me to get a glass of water. I listened. But he's not executing it. So is it any good of the child saying that I have listened? So when will you say that he has listened? When he has executed it. He's got the glass of water for the visitor and just whatever. Okay. So listening should lead to the execution part. So likewise, all of you please note down, we also have listened that we are pure soul, we are pure soul, we are pure soul. But have we executed it? Have we realized it? Have we realized that we are a pure soul? Had we realized, we would not have been here. In our past lives, we all were mithya drishtis. We were with the perverse attitude. That is why we are born here. Had we got samyak darshan, had we got a very refined attitude, we would have been in Mahavidek Kshetra and we would have been in the advanced level and not coming back to the lower level. So that is why they say that we have not really listened to. Now, I would like to give you the first category of listeners, the qualities of the first category of listeners. You can note down if you want. Maybe Prabhaji will ask you a question on that. I don't know about Prabhaji, what she's going to do with all of you. So the first category of listeners, Panditji says, Bhali ho nahar. One who is very, 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 very lucky. Satishay punya, extraordinary punya karma. Bhali ho nahar. Who has got the 5, who has got already the 4 labdhis, and he is about to crack the 5th labdhi. Now, what is labdhi? I think we'll have to arrange a special lecture on this, or you have to help yourself. There are beautiful books on Panch Labdhi by Dr. Ujjwala Shah. So you will all be wondering, Priya ma'am has no other work but to give you lots and lots of homework. She thinks this is her class, but then we are all good listeners and we have to reach the enlightened the path of, we have to come on the path of enlightenment and we have to seek enlightenment. So the first thing is we have to be jigyasu, seeker, be a seeker of truth. Keep questioning, keep asking, keep asking. Be thirsty, not just for knowledge, but the supreme knowledge that will liberate you. Read all the religious texts. Keep reading, keep searching. That is one thing. So I think that will be the takeaway for today. Be a good listener, be a good reader, be an ardent student until and unless you get Keval Gyan. Let us all seek Shruti Gnan. Let us all be students of Shruti Gyan. So the first category of listener is he should be very, there is no end to that very lucky. Lucky means bhali hona. He should be very fortunate. He should have done tremendous punya in the past to come and sit for these lectures or to sit in the class of Jinvani. So these lectures are not Priya ma'am's class. These are the lectures by Jinvani Mata coming through us. So to come to the Jinvani class is a very, big thing. Second, you should be a jigyasu. You should be a seeker. After that, you should have a firm determination to know what is the truth. You should have a firm determination and strong will. Get up early in the morning, take to Swadhyay, try to discover what is what. Okay. And then you have to also exert in doing the small resolutions. And then exerting to come unto yourself. And he should listen to with tremendous devotion. Preeti Purvak Sunna. Just as a child, have you seen some videos when the teacher is talking, the child is so happy listening, So you have to be happy listening. When you're happy, you're the childlike thing. So in that happiness, multiple levels of spiritual evolution you transcend. So mahima aani chahiye. Just like a child, it is so happy listening to those small things. It laughs and all those things. So that happiness should, see, I'll tell you one thing. How do you know that you are going to be a nikat bhavi? If you listen happy. If you're happy listening to things, then that happiness will help you to evolve further. And then you should ask questions. Then that should lead to contemplation. So first listening, then asking, then contemplating. So that's how, and again, then exerting, being your own self. Again listening, again asking, again contemplating, again exerting to be yourself. So that is the first category of listener. The second category of listener goes, he has now a firm faith, like Kripalu Dev and so many like Gautam Swami. Now they have steadfast faith in Paramatma. Now their buddhi has become nirmal. Their gyan has become nirmal. In the gyan, they are not running after the gyeya. So the gyan becomes nirmal. Nirmal means purer and purer. And then he applies the logic. Logic is a very important aspect of Jainism. And at the Madras University, we conduct 4 months of logic classes. And in the Paramagam also, we have our logic lessons. If Jaina logic is not mastered, it is very difficult to understand the way to enlightenment, the path of liberation. So let us all resolve today that we will try to visit the Jaina logic works to understand what really the truth is. Okay. And then when you apply the logic and you listen, or you listen and apply the logic, the next thing that you will experience is humility. Vinay towards everybody, towards Paramatma, towards Atma, towards all the creatures. There will be Vinay, there will be Vivek. And then he will take to scriptural study very sincerely. He will get his doubts cleared and he will give up all the path. He'll give up all the unrighteousness and come on the path of righteousness. And he will not take to any sinful activity. So that is the second category of listeners. Now, Panditji gives some special characteristics of advanced level of listeners. Okay. So they are the billionaires in the world of listeners, I would say. So here they would be people like who have mastered different languages, linguistics, grammar, prosody, and all those things, and logic and all logic works and all those things. And above all, he should be a Samyak Drishti. A Samyak Drishti who has already realized himself, like Gautam Swami and others. Now they also listen. So till you reach the 12th Gunasthan, till 6th Gunasthan, listening happens. From 7th onwards, it is the application of the listening. It is the application of the listening that happens. So the Samyak Drishtis the Avadhigyani, the Manaparyagnani, that is those who have clairvoyance, those who have telepathy, and those who are about to get Kevalyan. They are supposed to be the advanced level of listeners. Okay. Now, Panditji also talks about mediocre listeners. Mediocre listeners means they will just listen just because the family members are going to the Dharma Sabha, they will go, or just for out of curiosity, they may go. So such people will bind only Punya Karma. Okay. And if they apply that listening only, they will come on the path of Sambar Nirjara. So sometimes it will be Punya mixed with Pap. Sometimes it can be only Pap. Pap, I hope you all understand Punya Pap, the basic fundamental terminology that is there in the fundamentals of Jainism. So that is why we can end up taking to more Mithyatva, more Pap, if we are not careful about why we have to listen, how we have to listen, and what we have to listen. So we should listen to only the scripture, the scriptures which will help you to realize yourself and your prayojan bhut, the purpose of your existence, accomplishment, which will be realized only to those scriptures you should listen. So Sat Shastra, they are called as Sat Shastra, which talk about the path of enlightenment, which talk about how to realize the Vitaraga element in us. So only those scriptures we should listen to, and then and we should listen to with immense devotion, immense preeti. Preeti means adoration, immense adoration. We should listen to the scriptures, and yeah. So these are the things that I just wanted to share with you today. And I have some beautiful illustrations. Lined up. So the 5 labdhis you have. So how to crack these labdhis, I'm going to tell you a few things. The first thing is we have the illustration of the prodigal son. You have in the Uttradhyan Sutra, we have the merchant and his 3 sons. Okay. A certain merchant had 3 sons, and he wanted to examine who is worthy of inheriting his property and his treasure. So he gave each one 1,000 gold coins, and he told them to report after a year. And these 3 sons went in 3 different directions. Even though they were his sons, the three people had 3 different attitudes. The first one took that wealth and he went in one direction, the second in another, the third in another. The first one thought that my father is a rich man. He has given me all this wealth for me to enjoy. So let me eat, drink, make merry, enjoy. So he spent all that money in 1 year. The second son thought that my father is a rich man, but he's also an intelligent man. So without purpose, he would not have sent me over here. So let me invest this money in such a way that I return to him his 1,000 gold coins after a year, when we are supposed to report. So he invests in such a fashion that he gets neither profit nor loss. Whatever money he gets, he manages his 1 year with that money, and he keeps the capital intact. And after a year, he whatever happens after a year, we'll see that. The third child thinks that my father is a rich man, he's an intelligent man, but he's also a wise man. He would not have sent me here without a purpose. So let me do something that I multiply this amount and give it to him. I multiply it him and I make him happy. So he invests that money so wisely that that 1,000 gold coins becomes 100,000 gold coins, and cart full of money, carts full of treasure. He loads, and after a year, the first child comes empty-handed. The second child comes with the bounty with which he left, and the third child multiplies and returns home. Now, it goes without saying that the father is happy with the third child. Even if I ask a small child, the father is happy with which child, the child will say, of course, the third son. Okay, so that much of common sense we all have. So Jainism is basic common sense. We have to apply the common sense, which is not common these days. It is said that at the time of Mahavir, every third person knew the way to enlightenment. They knew the process of Bheda Vikya, but not everybody realized it. Out of the 14,000 monks and nuns, not 14,000, yeah, 14,000 sadhu, 36,000 sadhvis, 50,000 of monks and nuns who were there at the time of Mahavir, only 700 people got Keval Gyan. Only 700 people got omniscience. Only 700 people became enlightened out of the 50,000 people at the time of Mahavir. But now Mahavir is not there. His sermons are there. His teachings are there. So we can also become like the third son. Now, here in this illustration, which comes in just 3 gathas in Uttarakhand Sutra, I'm not going to recite those gathas. Okay, so those verses, sorry, I'm using the Hindi terms. Our Father who has sent you in this world. Who is that Father? Nobody but your pure soul. It got the karmic package and it did not send you. There's no such concept in Jainism that God, our Father, He has sent us on earth and the soul has sent us on earth. Nothing like that. Okay, because of your karmic design, you are born in this earth with a certain bounty, with a certain amount of punya karma. It is because of punya karma that you have a human body, a human form, a good stay in this world, a comfortable stay in this world. You've got the 5 sense organs, you've got your mind. All this is because of the punya, the meritorious karmas that you took to in your past life. So that is the 1,000 gold coins that you are born with, the punya karma, because of which you have got the body, the human mind, not the human mind, the mind, the senses, the access to listening to truth. Now, when you put this punya to use, you can lose this punya. You can lose it. Taking to all the sinful activities, you lose this punya. In enjoying the material pleasures, we are actually spending the 1,000 gold coins, and at the end of the day, nothing remains with us. So we are like the first son. If we are smart like the second son, we will again get a human birth. We will do little punya, we will do pap, we'll do punya, but we'll do pap, and we remain checkered in that conditioning. So that is like the second son. But if we are smart like the third son, we will understand our purpose in life. We will listen to Jinvani and we will multiply our spiritual quotient, or we will really begin, start our account of the spiritual quotient and multiply it to great levels. And when you try to multiply your spiritual quotient to a great level, you will get stoppage of karma and removal of karma. But if you fail to do that, your quotient of your punya will multiply. Your quotient of punya will multiply. So that can be your satishay punya, tirthankar nama karma, and other things. So now I would like you to ask yourself, you come under which category? Which category of listeners? We come under which category of the son we are, and what are we doing with our life? Are we enlightened? No, we are not enlightened. Are we on the path of enlightenment? No, we are not on the path of enlightenment. Are we going to be on the path of enlightenment? That each one has to see their own. You cannot tell for me. I cannot tell for you. Each one has to take stock of things under which category of listener I am. So am I a jigyasu? Am I determined? Am I committed? Do I really seek my higher self? Am I keen to conquer my lower self? So Paryushan Parva, the Dasalakshan Parva, are days when we are supposed to contemplate on ourselves, on the 10 Lakshan of the pure soul. Okay, in those days, they meditated on the 10 characteristics of the pure soul. But unfortunately, we are only trying to learn and hear about meditating on it. So that much of degradation has happened, but still we have nothing to lose. Let us start our journey. Let us begin with the right step in the right direction. So with these words, I would like to end my talk. So this was one illustration I gave. And another beautiful illustration, I will try to give it on the 8th day when I appear before you for another topic. So the takeaway also I've told you, be a good listener, be a seeker, be always happy. Whatever comes your way, take it in your stride. It's because of your karma only that you have invited this messy thing or the good thing. Don't rejoice in the material world. Don't be put down by the challenges of life. You have tremendous energy in you. You have tremendous willpower. Keep marching. That is why it is told in Bengali, charai veti, charai veti. Not Bengali, sorry. In Bengali, it is told ekla chalore. And in the Upanishads, it is told charai veti, chalte raho, chalte raho. Keep walking, keep treading, keep treading. But Jainism says, keep treading on the right path. So let us listen to what is the right path, and let us all come on the right path. And with this, I would like to end my talk. Thank you, Prabhaji. Thank you, one and all, for being a good audience. Thank you so much, Jaina. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you so much, Priyaji. It was excellent. And I'm sure the good listeners today got a lot to learn. Now, let's go to our question answer session. I would request as many people as can turn their videos on. It would help but so that way when you're answering, you can be spotlighted right away. Okay. Let's see. Shripalji, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. I might need a little bit of your help in spotlighting and all that, okay?
I'm sorry.
all right.
I'm not a host. I'm not sure.
I made you co-host.
Okay, let me check. I'm not. I think it's automatic. People who speak.
Yeah, it's okay. Most of it is going to be automatic. No problem.
Yeah. I will monitor also. Thank you.
All right, sure. Okay, so let's go to the first question. Being a good listener comes under which tattva? This is a little bit tricky, I would say, but let us see if we can
Punyashra.
get an answer.
Punya.
Yes,
Punyashra.
that's good. It is part of ashra, but it can be what else?
Punya and Pap.
Well, or Ashub or Shub, depending on what you do with it.
Right. Can it be somewhere or nirjara?
Not listening.
No.
Priyadarshna ji, feel free to add if
there is
Yeah.
self-realization.
Yeah. See, listening comes under the Swadhyay. Under the Nirjara Tattva, you have Swadhyay, Vachna, Prichna, asking, listening. So when you listen, when you ask, when you seek the truth, you are actually destroying some karmas. But that can be Sakam or Akam. With self-realization, it will be the ultimate Nirjara. But without self-realization also, it leads to Nirjara. Okay. Now, that Swadhyay has two implications. One, listening to the scriptures. Second, contemplating on yourself. So first, when you listen to the scriptures, it is Punyasra. That should lead to contemplation of the self, which is Samvar and Nirjara, which comes under Samvar and Nirjara. Okay, I think I'm loud and clear with that.
okay.
Prabhaji.
Yeah, I just
Not
wanted to
other.
make sure, everybody got your perspective on this. Okay. What is enlightenment? Okay, who is going to answer that? Were we all, Harak Bhai?
Yeah, when you reach to the full potential, that means you attain Keval Gnan. At
Okay.
that time, that's called enlightenment. No?
Yeah, that is true. But can you describe it a little more? Like where there is knowledge, which is Keval Gyan, I think you said detachment and happiness.
Okay.
All right. Okay, third question. We have not really listened. Why is it said so?
Oh, Prabhaji has listened to the lecture beautifully and she's noted down all the questions, why we have not listened. I very explicitly told in my talk. If you have got it, you can say.
Yeah, we are all listening. So many of us are listening. Bhupendra
I
Bhai.
gave you the example of the child also.
People has a tendency to do multitask. So what happens is that they're not paying attention to the listening because they are doing 2 or 3 things together, and so they don't get the marm or the essence of the listening, and so it's like not listening to at all,
Yeah, you got it. So your prayojan siddhi is not happening. You're not getting what you were supposed to listen and how to apply it. Because
Right.
if all you do is you listen and not really get the merm out of it, which is what we are trying to do with these question answer sessions, because it's very easy to while listening, your thoughts can get wander off, and some may get 20% of the session, retain 20% of it, some may retain 80%. It all depends on and how much interest people are taking, how much, and sometimes it's not in your control. You may be trying to listen
That's
very
right.
carefully and
Human
still you wander
tendency
off.
is that they drift off, if they have any stress or any other thinking, then your mind automatically goes into the stress area and not into the Veda Vijnana, because Veda Vijnana is a very difficult topic and very difficult to get it. So my mind used to go towards the easy stuff,
Yeah, that is true. That can happen. So that's why, we want to practice so that hamare prayojan ki siddhi ho sake. Our goal, is towards liberation. And when we listen to things, if we can focus on, what is going to help me, make note of it. And, because it's me, my own journey that I have to do. Nobody else can do it for me. Okay, give details of first kind of listeners. So what is the first category that she talked about? She talked about I think 3 or 4 characteristics of those.
Honhar, Bali Honar.
Honar Labdi, Jignasu.
Very good.
Then
Firm determination.
Firm determination.
Firm determination.
And then from there you have to take the small resolutions. That's what you're going to do. And ask a question, contemplation. And
that comes in the second category. Okay, so first category is Bali Honhar. Of course, you have to have that kind of punya to be in the human form and be able to listen, have that kind of buddhi, then of course be Jignasu, strong-willed, exerts. Then you have to listen with lot of interest.
Priti Purvak.
Yeah, ask questions, contemplate. Now let's talk about the details of the second category. I know Bhupendra, I started to say those things also. So let's talk about those now.
The one is apply logic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take sinful activities.
Good.
Vinay, Vivek.
Vinay and Vivek.
Vinay, Vivek, yes. They will be humble.
Listen and apply logic.
Yeah, they will have steadfast faith. They will have buddhi, but it will be very pure. You can have buddhi, but it can be used for being jealous and being other things. But here the buddhi is nirmal. And take spiritual study very seriously. Then, she talked about vachana, prachna, so person who gets their doubts cleared and gives up the unrighteousness, lives a very ethical life.
An immense adoration.
Yes. Now give details of special characteristics of good listeners. So this is again, further. So she basically is going from the first category to second category and then the highest category.
That could be the advanced listeners who have mastered different languages, samyak drishti,
Mhm.
And that's what she spoke about, the advanced listeners.
Very good, very good. So they will be masters of grammar, logic, linguistics. Above all, of course, they will be
Control over the
self-realized,
language.
extraordinary knowledge, like clairvoyance, telepathy, atmagyani. So
Is that
those are
Dipali who is answering? Who was
Oh,
that?
okay. The female voice who answered. Can you say her name, please?
Is it Dipali?
Yes, Dipali
Yeah,
Bharat.
yeah.
Namaste.
Dinesh's wife, yeah.
All
Jai
right.
Jinesh.
Okay. Very good. Very good, Dipali. Okay. So I'll go on to the next. Well, she is becoming good listener from what I can tell now. Okay. Mediocre listeners bind which karma?
Pap or punya, both.
Yes, very good. It will be mostly pap, punya, hopefully, but sometimes even pap karma. There are people who bind just pap karma too. Why do we need to listen deeply? To realize ourselves. And Priyaji, if you want to elaborate on that, you're welcome to.
Yeah, this bit is a very important. Why do we need to listen? Just for two things: realize and release. Realize and release. That is what we have not just heard. Okay, I would like to give an illustration if I have 1 minute time, Prabhaji.
Yeah, sure.
Sometime back on WhatsApp, there was a beautiful video, and related to that video, we have read in the literature, but when we saw the video related to what we have read, it was very fascinating. There was a boy who had tamed an elephant, and every day when the elephant was a young one, it got that elephant, and they grew up together. So now for many years that elephant was with this person, and every day that person would take the elephant out and then get it back and tie it and keep it, tie it and have it. Okay, and every day he would do this exercise. One day he was so tired that he did not tie it. He did not tie the elephant. Now the elephant could have easily escaped. The elephant could have easily run away into the wilderness, gone to its family and enjoyed whatever it was doing. But then it did not. It thought that it is chained, it is bondage, so it cannot move out. So there were no chains actually. There were no chains there actually. It was all there in his knowledge. It was all there in his mind. So he was there. He did not leave the place. In the same way, the boy is nobody but the karmas. Okay, and the soul is the elephant. The soul is actually free. It doesn't know that it is free, and it thinks it is in bondage. So it is in bondage. So when you correct your thinking, you will realize that you are already a liberated soul. You are already a peaceful soul. You're already a divine soul. There are no shackles. When you don't realize this purity of yours, this divinity of yours that is inherent, latent in all of us, that is called as bondage. So we have to listen so that we realize ourselves, and that realization will lead to the release, not otherwise. That's all, Prabhaji.
Okay. All right. Now, next question. What should we listen to?
Satya Shastra.
Very good. Satya Shastra, which will help us to go
to realize our soul.
To realize our soul. Very good. That is also called Prayojan Siddhi, which helps us attain our goals. How should we listen? How should we listen? Like right now, we were just listening to 45 minutes of Priyadarshna ji's good lecture.
With immense devotion and adoration?
Yes.
Correct.
With immense adoration, interest, mainly with immense interest. See, we in life try to put all our effort towards what? Where we have the most interest in things.
Correct. Yeah.
So, the reference of the Shastra, which says, Savane.
Savane Vinnane.
Right.
Bhagavati Sutra.
Bhagavati Sutra, that's correct.
Is it Bhagavati or Uttradhyan?
It's
No,
Bhagavati.
Bhagavati
That was
Sutra.
Bhagavati. Uttradyan
Yeah.
was the story of the three kids, three sons.
That's correct. Okay, give the order of Savane, Nane, etc.
Listening should lead to knowledge. Knowledge leads to the science or the Ved Vignan.
Yeah, very good.
I think that's Bhupendraji talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was
Yes.
listening with lot of preeti.
Yeah, my
Lot of
camera is
interest.
not working, so I'm not been, showing my face because my camera is having some
Okay.
problem.
That's okay. Yeah, that happens sometimes in Zoom. You cannot turn your camera on, but
We
that's
can
okay.
tell your voice, Vipendra Bhai.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay. What is Bali Honhar? Do we all have Bali Honhar right now?
That's a labdi, that you have it.
Yeah. She
You
said
have to
"Panch
be
labdi."
you have to be super lucky to be able to attend good lectures.
Yes. And then she explained Panch labdi pakne par. So when we have those labdis coming to us, that's when we get the opportunities. That's when we develop the true interest to listen. And that is what is most beneficial to us. So what is the takeaway for today? Today's is very
Good
simple.
listener.
Yeah. That was an easy one today, right? I know the other days we are asking and people have to think through, what should be the takeaway. Today's was very simple. So well, good. Now that you have a takeaway, next few days, everybody's going to be good listeners, right? So
Yeah, and multiply your 1,000 coins
Yeah.
to a million.
100,000 million.
It's to be good listener, but also to be able to execute what you have listened.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
that is true. Very good. Very good. Okay. So we are done asking you questions, testing you. You all, passed with flying colors. Now it's your turn. So now it's Vachana Prachana time. So if you have any questions to the speaker, anything you want to clarify, any comments you have about her. I mean, of course, you can always put things in the chat too, but this is your time to speak now.
Yeah, it always occurs to me that we talk about all this listening and reading and Papa Punya, all this. But then destiny is always a main thing in my mind, or it bothers me that is it in my destiny? Or if not, anything that I do, because my mind wanders off. I'm one moment I'm, listening to or reading the scriptures and everything, and then mind wanders. And is it the destiny? Who does that, or is it something my own weakness, or what's the difference?
Prabhaji, you'll answer or you want me to answer?
I will say a few words and then Priyadarshna ji can elaborate. I would say this is one angle that I'm talking about, is that we make our own destiny. Guess who is making this destiny of what kind of birth we are going to take, what kind of people we're going to get. We today, whatever bhav we are doing, we are creating our own future karmas. So when we blame our destiny, oh, it was in my destiny, so I couldn't do it. No, Jainism does not encourage you to do that. Jainism still encourages you to do your purusharth. And destiny will automatically take care of itself. So we need to today do what is possible for us to develop our interest, to do our purusharth. And let Priyadarshna ji elaborate more on this now.
Yeah, Bhupendraji, that's a very important question as far as the mediocre students that we all are, not just you. All of us are in the same boat. See, the first thing is that wavering mind will always be there till the 6th Gunasthan. And we are all in the first Gunasthan right now. First thing. Second thing, you put yourself in the place of the elephant. The elephant does not realize that it is not in bondage, but it thinks it is in bondage. Same with you, not with you, with us. When we read the Jain scriptures very deeply, only then we will understand the liberated, the potential liberated state of the soul. Not otherwise, not otherwise. This I'm telling you out of my 35 years of Jain studies, you have to read very deeply. Second point is, our knowledge is less. So the weakness of the mind is there, the doubts are there, the wavering mind is there. The more and more the knowledge quotient rises, and that will rise when you read, then the reaffirmations come, and only then these kind of thoughts will not put you down. Until then, they will always exist. Today, they are very little, tomorrow they will increase. That time, how we are going to handle ourselves. So, Shubhasya Shigram, sooner the better, that we realize that the depth of our inner core and the mind rests in peace, and we experience the tranquility of the soul and come on the path of liberation and not subject our soul to repeated cycle of suffering, of rebirths. So this wavering mind will be there. I gave you the example of the horse, no? You can take it to the water and then it says, when this sound will stop, I will drink the water. But the sound is never going to stop. The wavering mind sound is never going to stop. As long as it is there itself, we should learn to drink the water, the nectar of bliss. And then eventually, it doesn't matter the sound is there or not. The wavering mind is there or not. It is not going to disturb you when you become friendly with your own inner self. So I'll suggest you read and come for the classes that Prabhaji and me, we are all into very serious studies.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question. And I'm sure this applies to everybody. But like Priyadarshna ji said, knowledge is power. It definitely empowers you to get firm affirmation, firm shraddha, which helps you a lot. And rest of it is pretty much automatic. The charitra, I have experienced this myself, that the inner charitra pretty much becomes automatic. And, I used to wonder, when Ujjwala Shah and Dinesh Bhai had come to Pittsburgh and they told us they were, she was a very good physician. He was a lawyer with a big business, and they quit, all this just to spend time, getting this knowledge. And, I wondered, why would somebody do that? And now I understand the importance of it, that, money or material things is peanuts. It's pretty much nothing compared to this wealth of knowledge when we get, and through which automatic experiences that we will have. So yeah, this is definitely worth, doing, spending your time getting the knowledge.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Yes, Shripal.
Well, definitely I agree on that. Vast amount of knowledge, getting that experience, it helps to understand. A person like me, I may never ever able to get to read any scriptures, Sanskrit or Prakrit or Agam and everything. But knowing all that what I'm learning, or I might learn in under 2-3 years in all kind of Swadhyaya and all this kind of lectures, applying that just without going through further any kind of scripture knowledge, applying core into inner myself, going deep inside, self-realizing, applying all these core principles, what we are talking every day. Can we reach, can we achieve that self-realization, the true self-realization for a layman person like me? Is it possible?
Yeah, she talked about that Mastus Muni, who did not necessarily read all the scriptures, but how deeply you understand. I mean, even the scriptures, nobody can possibly read all the scriptures. So even if somebody took one scripture and went to the depth of it, understood it properly, that can also be enough for you. But I'll let Priyaji elaborate more on that.
Yes, Shripalji, that's an important question. First thing is, how much you have read and how much you have realized, that is more important than what you're doing now. So that only you can tell. Second thing is, in this Pancham Kal, in the phase that we are in, We cannot perfect meditation. We cannot perfect meditation. I'll give you the example of Yogesh Bhai, who is in Ader, and maximum time he is doing Swadhyay and little bit of Swadhyay, then Dhyan. Swadhyay, Dhyan. Swadhyay, Dhyan. So without Swadhyay, Dhyan can be very, very dangerous. Without knowing the reality, how can we meditate on it? So just perfection of 48 minutes of meditation is enough for liberation, is enough for Keval Gyan and Nirvan. But to reach that 48 minutes, you have to have a long journey of Swadhyay and Dhyan. So, but without mastering Swadhyay, without knowing the reality, you meditate according to, you matlab we meditate according to our whims and fancies. It is going to be a pitfall. So we have to be very careful and just go and do more Swadhyay. Go and do more Swadhyay. And that's a humble suggestion that we never do meditation in groups, like in Vipassana and Preksha Dhyan. They do all Tirthankars individually only they took to it. And meditation, I will tell you, friends, is not something that you have to do. It is the state of your very core. As you're listening to me, you're concentrating and listening. Dhyan is happening. Okay, Gyan ka Gyan hi Dhyan hai. So Gyan is your nature, and the cognition of the Gyan Swabhav is Dhyan. But without knowing the Gyan Swabhav, without knowing the difference between Gyan, Gye, Gyayak, you take to meditation, that can be very, very, what to say, like it can be again Mayachari towards our own self. So please be a little careful.
So knowing the Samanya Gyan is what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And okay, Harak Bhai, you have a question? You have a hand?
Yeah, I have one request, if you allow. My friend Claudia is attending
Yeah,
for last
sure. Let
day,
her. Yeah,
and
that's
it's
fine.
to say us a few words. What's her take on?
Okay. Yeah, Claudia, would you like to share?
Thank you very much. I appreciated the invitation to come back, and I really enjoyed this. This is a favorite topic of mine, listening, that is, because I teach at the community college too, and the key thing I ask my students to do is listen. And I was reminded of two things tonight. One was of Jesus's saying of, let those who have ears hear, and that if you have the ability, you must act on it. It's not just enough to actually hear the words. You actually have to go further. You have to follow it to its for you, self-realization. You have to follow it. And the other thing I was reminded of was Teresa of Avila used to talk about folks who would have that moment of breakthrough or self-realization. And we know what it is in the brain. We know what causes that. And I have my students, stick their arms out, and they can tell where they are in the room. And when we turn off that little spot in our brain, we break through to where we find our soul, or we find, for some of them it would be God, but we find soul. And Teresa of Avila cautioned that sometimes you can get so euphoric with, oh, I got there, that then you lose it completely and you pay attention to the wrong thing. And I was reminded of that as you were talking today. And she talked about the difference of drinking from a trough and drinking from a spring, and that soul is like spring, and it's fresh, bubbling water, and you cannot force it. It just is that. It's pure, and it's free, and it's fresh. Drinking from a trough, you can practice the skills and do it and get there, but it's not the same at all. It's not the purity of soul. That was what I was reminded of today.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you very much.
Yeah,
Claudia,
thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Claudia, I
Very
like
good.
the last statement.
Yeah.
Drinking from a trough and drinking from a spring. I'm going to remember you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your talk. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions or anything else anybody wants to share? Otherwise, we'll be ready to close our session.
I need to leave, Prabhaji. I've got another class.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the prayers, and then we can leave.
Yeah. So the takeaways I've already pronounced, and I request you all to resolve to read the Mokshmarg Prakashak at least 15 minutes in a day, a para every day. And we have it in English also. I don't know how good the English is, but please try to read this book. That would be my takeaway, my request for the takeaway for all of you. That's going to help you.
Yeah,
And
before
now-
we leave, I'll announce that tomorrow's topic is nature of God and Godhood. And we'll have a new speaker. Please, all of you come to encourage the new speaker. And of course, we will all be here. It would be, of course, each speaker has their own style, but it should be good. So, okay, let's do the prayers.
With the, I'm sorry, with the permission of the Guru Bhagavans, with all due respect to all the great fettlerless ascetics devoted to the contemplation of the self, Chattari Mangalam, Arhanta Mangalam, Siddha Mangalam, Sahu Mangalam, Kevali Pandato Dhammo Mangalam, Chattari Loguttama, Arhanta Loguttama, Siddha Loguttama, Sahu Loguttama, Kevali Pandato Dhammo Loguttamo, Chattari Saranam Pavajami, Arhante Saranam Pavajami, Siddhe Saranam Pavajami, Sahu Saranam Pavajami, Kevali Pandatam Dhammam Saranam Pavajami. अरिहंतों का शरणा, सिद्धों का शरणा, साधुओं का शरणा, केवली प्ररूपित दया धर्म का शरणा, चार शरणा दुख हरना और न शरणा कोई, जो भवि प्राणी आदरे तो अक्षय अमर पद हो. जय हिंद. Thank you.
Jai Jinendra.
Thank you.
Someday we
Jai
can
Jinendra.
translate this Mangal Path on request.
Okay.
On request.
Are you
from
saying
people.
you have a translation and we can do it?
Yeah, the translation
Okay.
is there in Samana Sutta,
Yeah,
but the explanation we can have it someday. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So maybe one of these
Some
days
other day,
we'll
some
talk
other
about
day.
it. Wow,
Okay,
very
thank you, Prabhaji. Looking
Sure.
good today.
Thank you,
Thank-
Priya.
Thank you, Shanti
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody.
Both the Shanti sirs, Claudia, Shripalji,
Thank you, ma'am.
Renu,
Harak
Dinesh,
bhai.
Pramod, Harak Bhai.